It's always a party at Patchworks. Let's get this party started. Woot woot. Hi everyone, this is Julie from Patchworks, and I am so excited that you're here with us tonight for our February Moda University. Moda University is a Patchworks exclusive program where we talk about fabric and projects. We show you some new things, teach you some tricks. If you would like, you can subscribe for memberships to receive all of the goodies. Or if you see something, just a single project here that you find interesting, you are also able to order that separately. We have so much to talk about, so we're just going to hop right in, all right? So today we have some new fabric lines to share with you, and we are going to take a peek at them. So I have laid out for you the different fat eighth bundles. Now we do have fat quarter options available in all of these. This one here, this first one, this is Lakeside Story. And Lakeside Story is a fabric line by Mara Penny. And this is a beautiful fabric line that has a panel that we're going to talk about in just a moment. But you can see these shapes here. So we have the little bear and fox walking through the woods and some beautiful flowers. We have some fireflies here. And of course, our loons and cardinals that you'd see in the North Woods. And well, you know, these boats might be a little big for some up north lakes, but definitely some good water here and just a beautiful, whimsical contemporary line. Our theme grunge collection is a rainbow of sorts that pulls out the color dots from the Lakeside Story. It will also work forward into the On the Go that we'll be getting any day now. And this is a kids line here that is all about planes, trains, and automobiles. So that will work into On the Go, back into Lakeside Story, or for any of your other rainbow needs. We do have in this particular pack the basic grunge as well as the stars in both the lime green and our beautiful red. Next up, we have American Gatherings by Primitive Gatherings, and this is truly a traditional Americana line. We have our stars, our stripes, red, white, and blue. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. We'll show you some cuts that we have here. We are still expecting all of the pre-cuts as well as the kits that go together with that line. Those haven't shipped yet. Don't worry. Those are still going to be coming, and we'll be showcasing those as soon as those arrive in the coming weeks. Purple and green. This is Wisconsin's favorite color story. Mill Creek Garden is by Jan Paddock and is a traditional floral line here and goes beautifully with other Jan Paddock lines. Love, love, love these beautiful flowers here, and we'll be looking at a project a little bit later with these fabrics. And then for our color builder selection, we have snow. You know, we've seen a lot of it. We're on 24 inches of snowpack right now, so why not celebrate our snow? We will be hopping back in and presenting the red color story that would go with our Aurifil. We're just waiting on some grunges. As you can tell with February, you might just guess that red was a popular color. So we currently are not able to put together that red bundle, so be expecting us to catch up with the red. But we thought this great background collection would be a good color builder to grab as well. So this month we do have our 5 options. Mara Penny, Grunge Theme, which is a beautiful rainbow, American Gatherings by Primitive Gatherings, Mill Creek Garden by Jan Paddock, and our color builder, which I call Snow. For our projects today, we have so many different things to talk about. And we thought this month it would be fun to showcase how far you can get with a fat eighth pack. And behind me here, I have this beautiful small throw that is the Wisconsin, it's a Wisconsin medallion featuring the Lakeside Story fat eighth pack and this beautiful panel. So the panel, which has Wisconsin, the robin, you have a larger Wisconsin here as well with different cities, and then you have the small squares repeating of each of them. We used one of the large squares in the center here and featured all 4 of the small squares. We partnered it with Bella Solid Color Silver to come up with this creation. Now, if you're saying, Julie, that pattern looks kind of familiar, well, you're right. We took block 1 from My Favorite Color is Moda sampler. Okay, if you watched our presentation last Thursday, and that's still available on our Facebook channel as well as on our YouTube channel, you can see what we did is we exchanged some of the color for background, and then we inserted a panel into the grid. So instead of our 4 center blocks, we used the large panel square, and for these corners, we used the small state. How fun is that? And then we decided, you know, sometimes we like a rectangle quilt instead of a square quilt. Nothing the matter with the square quilt, but sometimes we just like those rectangles. We added a border, and then we put in all 8 of the fabrics as a piano keyboard border, and then framed it out again so that we can quilt it and finish it. And it will finish at 40 by 56, which is a great size. So let's take a look and see how we put this together. The My Favorite Color is Moda sampler is a pattern booklet that is available for $12 separately if you don't already have it. All of our Moda Club members who are annual members have received the whole pattern. So check your month 1 for your pattern on that. And it is just a great way to use the pattern in a different way. And I love when we are able to repurpose designs to be able to get more out of a pattern or book that we have. I'm going to sneak behind so that I can show you how we were able to efficiently cut our fat eighth pack here. Okay, so I'm going to be including an illustration as well as cutting instructions for how to cut your 8 fat eighths to work in here. As an overview for that, you are going to be getting 2 squares for your half square triangles, and then a 2-inch strip and 3 2-inch by the remainder strips. So you really just have a square up schnibby, like threads, literally threads. We are being very, very efficient. So, and then this little piece left over from every fat eighth. When you are cutting for this, what I want you to do is to cut your wide strip first, right? No matter what you're doing, you always want to make sure you cut your wide strip first, just in case if you need to make any correction in that little bit. It's easier to kind of fudge your piano keyboard if you run a little shy than to make your triangles smaller, right? Okay, so you're going to cut this strip first. The other thing I want you to do when working with a fat eighth or a fat quarter is I want you to start cutting from the cut side first. So make a straight cut here and then cut backwards towards your selvage, okay? That way, if you ever had to go a thread or two into your selvage, you could. If you square up and chop off here for your straight to come this way, you've run out of fabric entirely if you run out at the end. Does that make sense? So that's just good for any project that you're working on when you're cutting from fat quarters or fat eighths, is to always straighten and cut from this cut side first and work towards the selvage. You can cut that selvage off right at the end. Okay, so that is the basis for how you're going to be cutting these. Let's look overhead, and we're going to talk about something different about these half square triangles versus these half square triangles, okay? So with the half square triangles from our sampler, they're solids and they don't matter which way they go, right? They can go this way or that way. If we look here, you can see that some of the fabrics are directional. And in the case of the forest, we have the forest, both of the triangles matching, but our boats, we have some of them going this way and some of them going this way, okay? It all is beautiful on the quilt. I just want to show you so that you understand why and how a directional fabric does that. Sound good? All right, let's look down at the board. Okay, so you are going to be making your pairs of half square triangles with every print is going to be paired with a solid, okay? So you would pair them together, use your quick quarter ruler. We would draw our lines, pin, 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 stitch, cut apart, okay? So you're going to pair them. We're not going to sew today. We're just going to talk about the theory of the half square triangle, okay? Who would have thought that we'd have theory on half square triangle? So from each fabric, you're going to be cutting 2 squares. Each square yields 2 half square triangle units. So 2 squares yields 4 half square triangle units. When I typically work on a half square triangle unit, I just, and I'm working on a bunch of them, I would just set everything up, draw all my lines, and chain stitch. When you're working with directionally printed fabric, you have to think about it. If I do them all in the same direction, I'm going to end up with different orientations. So what do I mean by that? Well, if and I'm just going to, typically we sew them together before we cut them apart. So I'm just going to cut so we can look at them like tiles. Okay. If we do them both in the exact same direction, okay, as we would work on them, we would have one going one way and one going the other way, okay? Let's set this back. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, let's do one this way, and now we're going to cut one this way, or we would be drawing our lines this way, right? So I'm building on my video from last week, which talks about much more detail for how to put the block together. Okay, so Now, you can see with combining the two here, we are able to, so do you see that? So this one and this one, and this one and this one, then are faced the same way. Let's come again. So if we have here and here, there's no way to do it without them being faced in different ways. So that is something interesting talking about your half square triangles with directional fabrics. We want to make sure we mirror our seams so that we can have matching directional units. Okay, so let's look back at the quilt. I told you that we were going to be using 2 squares to end up with 4 half square triangles from each fabric. So you can see our pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I left out our little firefly guy because I thought he maybe had the least amount of contrast next to the silver fabric. And then for the piano keys, for the long strips that you have, you're able to make half of it by chain piecing a whole strip set together and then subcutting. I subcut these at 6.5 inches to put them together. And you have 24 on top and 24 on the bottom. There are 8 fabrics, so what does that mean? You have 3 of each fabric repeated on the top and the bottom. I like my sense of symmetry, so we put them together in the exact order. We didn't mix them around, and we put 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 1 through 8, and then down here 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 1 through 8, so that your eye doesn't see it together. Kind of mixes it up a little bit. So after you have your center squared together, add this, put your top and bottom on, and border it all the way around. If you wanted to, you could make it a little bit bigger. As I had said, your top finishes to 40 by 56. If you wanted it just a little bit bigger, you absolutely could go ahead and make these borders a little bit bigger. So with your fat 1/8 pack, you would need 1 row of that panel print, 1.75 yards of the silver, and then 3 yards for your backing. If you wanted your borders to be a little bit bigger, just bump that up to 2 yards. We do have kits available that include the pattern if you are not a member of Moda and you had wanted to have a quilt kit for that top and binding, and that is $50 and is available on our website or in store while supplies last. Okay, so now we have even more fun fabrics to talk about. Oh, but before we hop over to another collection, I do want to show you a beautiful fat stack we put together, or fat quarter tower that we put together for this fabric line. So we thought with this being a single row panel that we would pair 11 fat quarters with the panel, okay? So you have the border and then these beautiful fabrics. We have this one that's not in there in your fat 1/8 pack. This boat. this bird. So there is an option to get the 11 fat quarters and the panel for $39 if that was of interest to you. And then you could make that quilt just a little bit bigger if you wanted to. So that is Lakeside Story. And now let's talk about what else we have. Behind the fun quilt that I have here, I have two table runners. Ta-da! It's like I'm a magician today. So I have two different table runners here from two different books. The first one we're going to talk about is this one here that is from the Table-tastic book. And Table-tastic is one of our go-to table runner books by Doug Lako of Antler Quilt Design. Fun fact, Table-tastic 2 is coming out shortly. So we're super excited about Table-tastic 2 and all sorts of additional table toppers and runners to make. So we took our Fat Eighth pack of American Gatherings and paired it with our primitive muslin, and the primitive muslin is pie crust. And so that's color 22. So it's pattern 1040, color 22. We used a yard, and then we'll need 1/3 of a yard for our binding and a yard and 5/8 for our backing. The pattern calls for 10 different fat eighths. However, we were able to efficiently cut it from our 8 fat eighths. And so the 10 fat eighths would give you a pair of stars per fabric. You have enough fabric to be able to get 2 pairs of stars from each fabric, so we just went ahead and doubled a couple of them and used singles for a few others. Let's look down at the board. We made a board to show you how some of the units go together. All right, let me see if I can get this in focus here for you to see. So we have 9 patches that we make and some flying geese. And then we also have an interesting partial square and a square block. So for our, I have this upside down. Let's look at it this way. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Can't trust me to be all by myself tonight. Okay, so let's start up here with our strip sets. So to make our 9 patches, we are going to use 2 different strip sets. We'll have a strip set where we have background, feature fabric, background, and then we'll have feature fabric, background, feature fabric. Sew them together and then subcut them. When we pair them together, you pair them together so that you have 9 patches looking like this. Now we went ahead and we do press everything open because we're crazy, but this particular unit would be something that would be appropriate if you pressed to the dark, then you would be able to nest these seams together if you like to do that. This unit here is a square and a square that we're using connector corners or easy folded corners. I should have Doug's ruler down here that would do the simple folded corner, but instead I have my quick quarter here. And so I use my quick quarter to mark down the center of these, and I can set it up to stitch on opposite ends, and then I will be adding a 3rd corner, but not the 4th corner. So you get this interesting geometry by only doing it to 3 of the corners. So we go opposites and then one of the remaining, leaving this open. And that is how this unit is created. And then for our no waste flying geese, we start with a large square of background, put 2 smaller squares on top, use our quick quarter ruler, draw our lines, stitch our lines, cut apart, press back, and then we end up with a heart or a fox. Place a square on this part here, on this open end. Use our quick quarter ruler to draw our lines, stitch our lines, cut apart, and you get these perfect, 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 no waste flying geese. Let's look back at the runner. So you can see within the block, you have the 9 patch, you have the flying geese, you have this interesting 3-cornered square, and then to match up the geometries, you do put on some strips of background to turn this particular unit into a square that matches up to the other parts of the star. And then you put each of the units together as a 4-patch. So this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And then you put them together in rows like this. You can see that you have a spacer on the top of one side and the bottom of the other. This would be a very interesting project to turn into a larger project, and you could just continue your ways, and just keep in mind you can get 2 blocks out of 1 fat eighth. So you'd be able to get a total of 16 blocks out of 1 fat eighth pack, and you can do further math from there if you wanted to multiply and make it bigger. We do have copies of Table-tastic in store, and we will be getting Table-tastic 2 as soon as it's available. You would want to add 1 yard of your background, as well as 1/3 of binding, and then 1 yard and 5/8 of backing material. Whew, all sorts of stuff today. This is from Table-tastic. So we had made back in March of 2019, I know that's like forever ago, we had made this one with a previous Jan Paddock line. It's so pretty. This one from the Trendy Table 2 book, it's called Stellar, Trendy Table 2. We do have this one in stock. Calls for charm packs. I figured out we are able to cut it from our fat eighth pack, but out of full disclosure, I just want to share with you that this one was made from a charm pack, and we do have charm packs of Mill Creek Garden in stock if you had wanted to make it from the charm pack. So interesting, both of these are about the same size, so they're 18 by 50. This one I think is 18 by 49, and this one's 18 by 51, but about 18 by 50. What I did is I have cut a fat eighth of just a plain purple to show you you can cut this particular pattern from a fat eighth. So for those of you who receive the membership materials, you will get these cutting instructions for the alternate cutting, and the waste from this would be here. So you'd be able to get, this would be enough if you cut all of your 8 fat eighths this way, you would be able to yield a total of 4 of the blocks. So let's look at the unit here in our stellar block. So our stellar block has 8 points that come out from it. And how perfect is that? Because how many fabrics do we use in each of our monthly packs? 8. So you could, if you chose to use the Fat 8th pack, you would have identical spokes on this flower or star, okay? Unless if you change the position of them. But otherwise you could end up with a total of 4 blocks from a Fat 8th pack, okay? So here, the big difference between this half square triangle and this half square triangle is because of how we are piecing these, and we're not making pairs. Well, I guess we actually would be pairs if we're doing identicals, is that she has us cut things apart first, okay? So we put them together. So a bonus, and I'm just thinking about this as I'm talking to you, is that if we are going to be making it with a Fat 8th pack, you wouldn't have to go ahead and cut these apart because you're pairing all of them together, so you could figure out your order and then make the pairs so that you could split it around for your other half square triangles that you need in this quilt. However, if that's just too confusing, by all means go ahead, follow the instructions in the book for the stellar pattern. Okay, so this is a for purchase pattern that we just wanted to feature. It is really, really cute. We also have in this book, just going to look at it on the back here, one of the things that Heather does is that she likes to show how you can put her blocks together to be able to make them into larger projects. So you would be able to make 6, she shows you as a small quilt here, and 9 as this little larger piece. I said that your Fat 8th pack would be enough to yield 4 blocks. So just some fun, different inspirations for how to be inspired to use those fabrics. Let's see what pre-cuts we have available here of these to share with you. So for our Mill Creek garden, we have charms and jellies and layers, as well as yardage in stock. We also have some other Jan Paddock fabrics that blend in, so you can either see in store how those fabrics will work with things in your collection, or if you want to make a unique combination of fabrics, go ahead and grab some of those older pieces to help provide a little bit more depth to that collection. For American gatherings, we have received the yardage, and we've put together half-yard tower and fat quarter towers of the pieces that we have here in store. We also put together some fat stacks because we know so many of you love, love, love the fat stacks. Those are the 12 fat quarters that we put together so that you can make those beautiful 12-pack quilts. Great quilt starters for those. Let's look at the fat quarters we put together into our fat stack. I like to put in the colors and let you add your backgrounds. So we have 6 that are more red and white. This one's the lightest that is in the pack. And then we have 6 that are blue and white. Now, we thought we would be super cool and put together the same fabrics for you so that you could have the same print in 2 different colors. I know some of you really like to match up and do that. We have, as soon as they are ready to ship, charm packs, jelly rolls, layer cakes, and the beautiful kit that's coming. So there's a box kit that is coming with this line. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. as well as a standalone pattern. The kit will be $130, and as soon as that is in, we'll make sure to share that with all of you, because I know so many of you are excited for that. If you specifically knew you had wanted it because you've seen it, make sure to send us a note and we can set one aside for you as soon as it comes in. The other pre-cut that we have available right now for that fabric that's coming soon is the On the Go by Stacy Sue. So super cute little juvenile line that has the planes, trains, automobiles in really bright colors. And we have that available as in the Charms, Jellies, Layers right now, and yardage. It will be coming probably in the next week or so. So that will be great. So many fabrics coming as the world starts moving again. The fabric just keeps pouring in, and it is super exciting to be able to share all of that with you. In case if you missed it, for those of you who are playing along with the My Favorite Color is Moda, or were curious about it, this year we are splitting out that format. So that presentation on this block and that quilt was last week. That will be on the second Thursday of every month. The third Thursday will be our Moda University. And then the fourth Thursday is our Aurifil Color Builders Club. And the first Thursday of the month is our We Heart Tula Club, in case if you are just joining in now. We had so much to show you today. Wasn't that a lot of fun? How many of you are in our Patchworks Party Facebook group? That is a place where we can share show and tell and ask questions. I also share the reminders about our big videos that we're posting. We want to make sure that we can share as much as possible in this virtual setting. So that is something that we set up. It is a private group. It's not meant to exclude people, so please just hop on and request an invitation. We just ask you to name a favorite designer and what's your favorite Patchworks Club, only because we want to make sure you're a quilter and that we don't have somebody hopping on and trying to like sell us like chamois or something. So that is why we ask you the questions, and you will be in the know for all things Patchworks when you do that. If you've loved what you've seen, we encourage you to check out our website, and we do have memberships available for the whole year. We have so much fun, and we hope that you can join us. While I have your attention, I did want to share with you just a couple other new things that came into the shop in the past couple weeks. These aren't Moda, but you know, we just want to keep you in the know of what's coming in. These really bright fabrics here, let's look at them overhead. These right here, this is Libs Elliott Phosphorus line. There are 12 beautiful fabrics, and they're kind of neon. Kind of reminds me of the 80s. And my baggy pants that I had with my crop top. So fun, fun, fun. This is Phosphorus. It's been so popular that they already released the next 12 colors, which will be shipping, I believe, early autumn. This is a Crazy Monkey line. So we put together 6 fat quarters. This would be perfect for making a cute yellow brick road or other simple pattern. Super cute, super fun, super whimsical. On the docket, we also have, let me just check my notes so I can tell you, because I know that you want to know what's coming and when it is. So back in Moda land, we have the new speckled is coming, as well as Robin Pickens' new colors of Thatched. That's going to be coming as well. Tons more stuff coming, so stay tuned and happy quilting. Thanks for joining us tonight. Like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. Have a great night. Stay warm.